Welcome. What you're looking at is a development version of an upcoming Giga release. I've been talking about this for a while and it's time I showed something. It's all just taken a lot longer than I would have liked, but it's definitely making progress even though it has stalled over the last few weeks. But when this is released, it's going to completely change Plunder and I'm going to start really hitting other angles of Plunder, not just programming all the time. The plan is to actually start shipping coins ASAP. So what you're looking at is the inventory screen. On the inventory screen, you'll be limited to a certain amount of items, so it will behave more like an inventory as opposed to just an infinite grid of items. You can see here there's these empty slots now, whereas previously an empty slot didn't really exist. It wasn't really a concept. And so empty slots can now be used. So you can drag things around and move them into an empty slot. And you'll see this little explosion smoke animation, which I've added too. There'll be various animations for different actions, which I think is just a really nice tactile touch, and it makes things feel real, which is something I've always been aiming for with Plunder. I want loot to feel real because it is backed by a physical real object at the end of the day. There's also loads of cool stuff I'm building in, like for example you can split loot piles into smaller piles and then like recombine them like that. The reason this is useful is because loot will be generated in slot, so you might generate a loot pile. For example, with the bond, you can see here's a regular bond, it's unclaimed. But when you claim it, it's all a lot more hands-on. So currently, the way that you'd claim a bond is you just click it, it would open up a dialog, and then you'd choose claim, and it would just show you some text. However, now, what's going to happen is you select the loot you want to deposit into the bond, and then you select deposit. So it'll actually put that loot inside the bond, as you can see here. And currently there's kind of a hidden away credits table where you can keep track of your credits, but now it'll all just be managed inside the loot inventory. So now you can actually visibly see the loot that you've assigned to the bond in the inventory, and it's got a status update there, this little clock icon that shows that it's not ready to claim yet. I'm also adding boxes because the loot inventory is now limited to the amount of empty spaces you have, which will be variable. I think you'll be able to buy empty spaces to increase the amount of space you have. What I'm also doing is adding boxes so that you can put loot inside a box and kind of like keep it there. So if I click it, I'll see an expanded version of that box, and inside the box you can see it's got more empty slots and it's got the loot inside it. And this will allow you to sort of categorize your loot, organize it in a much more in-depth manner. The reason I'm doing this is because I'm also, well, let me show you. This is super cool. So I've added this furnace item, which again, I'm not sure if this will make it into the final release, but for now this is how it works. You can select gaming chips or copper, gold, silver, etc. And you can cast the chips or tokens or whatever you're looking to cast into an item. So again, the UI here is super crude because I haven't finished developing it, but I know which option I need to select, and it's this one. And you can see here that just created a token. That token was cast from 1,000 gaming chips, so you can see it says 1k on it. So on that it will show me the prize pool, and this is basically just an arcade token as we know them now. So you'll see here these are just standard arcade token prizes. These tokens can actually be minted in slot. If I use the hammer, which again is a new item, if I use that hammer on the token, on the blank, it will mint into an asset, into a coin, inside the loot inventory. And you can now interact with it in many interesting ways using this new inventory user interface. I can view it, obviously, well, in theory, but like I say, this is all under development, so there's lots of bugs. So there's loads of features I want to add that require this type of dynamic and rich interaction. For example, I want to build it so that you can melt a prize in the furnace so that you can reclaim gaming chips from an asset that you've won via this, this dynamic of minting the token into an asset and then re-melting the asset that you won in the furnace to get gaming chips back to make this sort of life cycle of assets and allow them just to be super liquid and have many richer interactions and features. There's also the scissors, which you can use to craft boxes. And there's a box. And then you can open the box and just see what's in it. And it's all done inline, so I'm getting rid of all these modals that were there previously, so you don't have to constantly go from modal to modal, trying to make as much of the interaction inline inside the single page here. So yeah, that's everything for this sort of mega release. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff. There's so much to build here, and it's all very complicated, really. There's a lot of complex interactions, lots of testing, and it affects many parts of the code base, so that's why it's taking so long. I'm slowly plodding away at it bit by bit, and I'm gonna get there, but yeah, please bear with me, those of you who have already given Plunder a try. Really appreciate your patience. I also wanted to celebrate the fact that Blok, or Boog, depending on how you know him, has reached 100 block drops on stacker.news, which is just like mind-blowing to me. Super consistent, legendary effort from his part. So what I've done is introduced a new item, and here is that item. You can see it's a sack with a question mark on it. So this is a mysterious pouch. It's currently in kind of like sort of pre-release, I guess, because in the current version of Plunder that you'll actually receive these pouches in, there's not much you can do with them. You can just, you get a little warning or a little message that says you can't open this right now without something sharp, and that's where the scissors will play in. So basically, once this Giga release is out the door, you'll be able to open these pouches that you collect with the scissors. And, well, what's going to be in them is mysterious, so you'll have to wait and see. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you all. Stay tuned.